Oh, I'm back at my favorite corner again by my desk. This just seems to be more comfortable for me. So eventually we'll go back to the bookshelves, I think. But today's video is going to be the books that I DNF'd and or disliked in January. I decided to give these books their own separate video because I don't plan to talk about them for too long, to be honest, because I either didn't finish them or I didn't like them. So let's get started. First off was Sea Serpents and Sprinkles, or Sprinkles and Sea Serpents, or something like that. I really can't tell you what the title of that book was. I think I DNF'd the audiobook around like 12%. I didn't know what was going on, and none of the characters made me want to know what was going on. So I just gave it back to Audible. I just returned it. I wasn't having fun. So yeah, I can't even tell you who I might recommend that book to. I think it was like I think it might have been like a mystery or something. And there were sprinkles and cupcakes. I don't know. I'm just going based off of the title at this point. Now, this book I did finish, but I just really didn't like it. I can't tell you what it was about. And I finished it. I think I finished it kind of like on autopilot. And that's big witch energy. I really got to catch myself before I say witch. I don't know what it was about. I think that the witch is plus size, if I'm not mistaken, because there was a lot of references to her body size. And I was like, okay, tuning out. I don't mind a plus size FMC. I love it, actually. I really enjoy when we are being, represented in books. I just don't understand why you have to harp on the fact that she's plus size over and over and over again. Like, either she's overly confident or she lacks confidence, or everything is about her size, or everybody's trying to ignore her size. It's like, dog, I deal with this in my day-to-day life all the time. I don't want to do it in a book too, Now, Jackal was supposed to be a buddy read between me and Sheldina, the thriller queen. And what I can say, I couldn't finish it. I was so triggered. By this book, but, big but, I would still recommend this book, and I'll read anything that she writes as long as it doesn't have to do with the same subject matter. I'm not easily triggered when I'm reading, but there are certain subjects that just, I can't. I'm sorry, they make my tummy hurt. And this just happened to be one. But Erin E. Adams has a real way with words. Like, her imagery is probably some of the best imagery I've ever seen. Words on a page, and you're painting that type of a picture, insane. Grammy Award winning. The subject matter was just really dark, and there was a certain part of it that I couldn't stomach. And I started out with the physical book and the audiobook, and I put the physical down. I was like, okay, well, maybe if I don't see the words, it won't hit as hard. No, the narrators really, they went to town on that. It's just overall, whether you do the audiobook or you do the physical, it's a good book, I think. I think it would be really good. I just couldn't. There was a specific scene that was being described, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm sorry, I'm done. I can't. In good faith, I can't put myself through this, but I would recommend the author, and I will read anything else by her as long as it just doesn't have to do with the same thing. And Sheldina told me how the book ends. I think it sounds like it would have been really good. If I just couldn't. I couldn't. So this was a weird DNF. It's like a DNF that I didn't want to, but I had to. Then we have Fledgling. This was really weird. The audiobook narrators kind of killed it for me. If I'm being honest, I think it was a mixture of that and maybe too many POVs. I don't know. There was just something about the audiobook that turned me off. And I went to get a physical copy at the library because that's where I found it, was Libby. So I was like, well, let me go to the library and get a physical copy and see if I could do that. I think the audiobook maybe ruined it. Either that or I still just couldn't get into the story. So this is a DNF. I think it's going to be a soft DNF. If I remember, because what did I have for breakfast? If I remember this book, I will come back and try to read it, just the physical copy by itself. But yeah, this was a DNF, which sucks. Because I think I would have liked it if it hadn't. There was just too much going on in that audiobook, y'all. And for my most controversial DNF, and let me just preface this by saying, reading is subjective. So it's okay that I DNF this book, even if you loved it. That's okay. We can still be friends. And also, don't tell me to finish it. I just told you I don't want to read it. That is like such a big pet peeve of mine when I'm like, oh, I don't like that book, I didn't finish it. And people are like, no, just power through. You'll like it. I loved it. And I'm like, I don't remember phrasing this as a question. I'm pretty sure I made a statement. I digress. The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. It could just be that I'm not in the mood for historical fiction, although I don't think that's the case. But I really dislike these characters. Like, I genuinely disliked the main characters. I think my favorite was, not favorite, the most tolerable one was the little girl. I don't like kids in books and movies like, hello, is anybody out there? And then fucking Ted Bundy comes out of God knows where and gets everybody. And everybody's like, well, what happened? Mary Lou ran outside telling him where everybody was. That's what happened. Anyways, my point is, if my favorite character was the little kid in the book, suffice to say, I'm not having a good time. I'm not having a good time. I don't know if I'll come back to this. Maybe. I literally stopped at page 128 out of like 600 pages or something. It's this big. So I'll try to pick it up maybe if I feel like it, but I don't know. I don't know if Kristen Hanna's the author for me. And like my TikTok went crazy when I said that in a reading update. I had DMs like, you just have to finish, just power through. And I'm like, I don't remember asking anybody for their opinion. Like, anyways, that's what happens when you post yourself on the internet. Everybody feels like they have the right to comment, but whatever. I might pick it back up. We'll see. I guess you'll find out when I talk about it if I ever do again. But yeah, those are the books that I either DNF'd or I just really didn't like in the month of January. Thankfully, I had a really good month. Lots and lots of good reads this month, which thank you to the reading gods. I can't wait to see what February has, because February is going to be, I have 2 buddy reads and then I have like a bunch of series that I either want to finish or continue. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, I'm going to post another video with my January wrap up of the books that I did like, the ones that I do recommend or would recommend, outside of Jackal. That's the only book on this list that's kind of like, I'm like really torn about it. That's the only one. But anyways, I hope you guys had a great reading month for January. I can't wait to see what February brings for us, and happy reading.